All right, in the next segment, we've got Ray Nadler-Olnick coming in. She heads up fluoridefreeaustin.com, fighting the city council that gets the lobbying money from these chemical companies to take the byproducts of the petrochemical industry and the fertilizer industry and the aluminum purification industry and dumps it right in our water supply. And we're talking to a PhD doctor of chemistry and biology, Dr. Neil Carman. Doc, is there a particular way for people to read your research or a website where people can find out more about you, or is the best place just fluoridefreeaustin.com?
Well, Dr. Paul Conant in New York has a great website, fluoridealert.org, and he has a list of over 2,535 professionals, PhDs, medical doctors, dentists, nurses, and other
neurologists
who have signed on to this professional statement calling for an end to fluoridation in the United States. Because in Europe, there is virtually no fluoridation. They determined over there, based on medical toxicology and health studies, that this is not good to be doing to the public.
And it weakens teeth. I mean, my dad's a dentist and didn't believe me, and over the years I gave him documents, and he now agrees I'm right.
Yes, yes. So actually the U.S. is the primary country in the world where fluoridation is commonly practiced.
Well, look, I was never a hypochondriac. I got sick like twice a year. I could have a broken collarbone and not want to go to the doctor. So I wasn't imagining it. I would brush my teeth real good because my daddy was a dentist. And I always remember laying down on the couch and having a headache to where I almost got to where I didn't like to brush my teeth until I was finally about 16, 17, and I figured I could go to the store and buy Tom's of Maine without it. I figured out, before I ever heard of this, that fluoride was giving me headaches.
Well, and actually, every toothpaste container that has fluoride in it in the U.S. is required to have a toxic warning label that if a child ingests too much of this, they are supposed to call the Poison Control Center. Now, 25 years ago, there was actually a skull and crossbones warning label on every toothpaste and box of toothpaste because of the fluoride that they've added. So the toothpaste is a big issue because already children are getting dosed every time they brush their teeth. They're getting some fluoride. They're ingesting a lot.
They say if you get a pea-sized amount, most kids swallow that much, call poison control immediately. The kids don't. They eat the toothpaste, go collapse on the couch, and I've seen the studies about IQ reduction. I mean, it's a fact. Then they make jokes about it, kind of like now I say mercury's bad for you, and they go, no, I saw the news, it's good. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're a chemist. You're somebody who studied biology. You're a scientist. Is mercury good for the brain?
I don't think so. I haven't seen evidence that I subscribe to that mercury has any health benefits to the body.
Well, under an electron microscope at the University of Calgary, we've shown. In fact, I want to show people that. Google electron microscope video, mercury brain tissue, and this is monkey brain tissue, and it's the only heavy metal they found that causes an electrochemical almost explosion chain reaction. Normal plaques, it just builds up as a plaque and only kills what it touches, but this causes an electrochemical short circuit.
Right, I've seen that. It looks very well done, because it shows the neuron shrinking away from the mercury.
But maybe you haven't had enough mercury, Doc. Maybe that's why you think it's bad. Maybe if you'd eat more, you could join the rest of the normal people that can hardly talk now. Have you seen how a lot of adults can hardly talk now? Maybe you need more mercury and fluoride, Doc.
Well, we've known actually, if you study biochemistry, like I took, a long time ago, one of the classic ways to basically kill protein function is with heavy metals like lead and mercury. So we've known for a long time that these toxic metals are very bad for biological systems.
Dr. Carman, everybody knows mercury's good. That's why they give it to kids. That's why they have mercury bottles at the Whole Foods. If you go there in the vitamin section, it's vitamin M.
Well, I disagree. I think mercury is extremely harmful. We've seen studies where a single gram of mercury, which is about the size of a grain of rice, will contaminate a 20-acre lake so that the fish are too toxic with methylmercury concentrations to eat.
But wait, the government says it's good. Why don't you just trust them and be a patriot? I mean, I think I should just drink mercury on air and prove to everybody this is nutritious and good. You know what? This is extreme. We're going to come back more and talk about these people that don't think we should be drinking sodium fluoride. The good old folks at New Silver Solution. And the website is supernaturalsilver.com. supernaturalsilver.com. This is something that kills bacteria, viruses, you name it, well documented. They've got it down to a super small nano-sized particle. Supernaturalsilver.com. Check them out at Infowars.com. Ray Nadler-Olnick, who heads up FluorideFreeAustin.com, is now joining us in studio with Dr. Neil Carman, who I have been bringing up a lot of points with, but I want to give him a few minutes before we go to her and then get her take on this, as she's fighting it in Austin and around the country. And certainly people should contact her there if you want to get involved with Fluoride Free Austin, because I would like to have, we have great aquifer water here, and I'd like to not have to be drinking, water that I have shipped in from Arkansas, or water that I drink out of my Big Berkey. Because even with that, even with the Big Berkey, it only cuts out 95% or so. That's why we now use the Ecola Blue. And speak of the devil, I had them set up for a 5-minute interview weeks ago, not knowing it coincided right for when they were on. So it's not being done on purpose, where I'm here exposing fluoride and then talking about the one way to make sure you're not drinking it, atmospheric water generators. So that's coming up in a moment. But, sir, you were talking about Google Earth during the break and zooming in on these mines where the byproduct are all these different things, not just the fluoride type chemicals that are being put in our water supply, and other points that need to be made.
Yes, there's a county in Florida where a group of these plants that Mosaic and several other companies operate. It's Polk County, near the cities, small cities called, one is Bartow and also Mulberry. And right around those cities, you see these large strip mining operations for the phosphate rock, and that's where the phosphate fertilizer manufacturing plants are located. And then you can also see large waste piles of the phosphogypsum that's too contaminated with the radionuclides, uranium and thorium they don't know what to do with it. The state of Florida, the EPA, these companies, it's too toxic to sell anywhere. But you can go on Google Earth and see these large strip mining operations and huge waste piles. I mean, it looks like small mountains, literally, of the phosphogypsum waste. And that's where this waste product, this industrial hazardous waste containing fluoride, is coming from these manufacturing plants.
So we shouldn't say they're putting fluoride in our water. That's a cover term. That's bad enough. They're putting the toxic waste in our water.
Right. I mean, this is not naturally occurring fluoride. This is an industrial, toxic, fluoride waste product from, the phosphate fertilizer, manufacturing sector. There's a few other industries where they generate some fluorides as well, from, copper smelting and aluminum smelting and the steel industry. So there can be other sources of this fluoride as well.
Amazing. What do we do about this? You guys did a tour there. We heard about it and kind of came in under your wing. We appreciate you guys contacting us and the work you're doing. If we just get more Austinites or more people listening in upstate New York or Chicago or California right now, we have listeners all over the country. We have over 80 affiliates, XM Radio listening right now. This is really toxic waste. You guys are finding if more people would stand up. The majority of the EPA scientists I know signed letters. We've had their head on saying this is toxic waste. The government doesn't like this. The people that actually work in the government know it's bad. How do we end this? And then tell us about the tour, and we'll get some comments from Ray Nadler-Olnick.